Dear listener of Agape FM. The time now is exactly 5 minutes past 10 a.m. on a beautiful Monday morning. Please give us a shout on our number 067 Let us know where you are and where you're listening to us from, what platform you're using. Are you on your cell phone? Are you using a tablet, or are you on your laptop? Or give us a shout. And we also like to take any prayer requests, any testimonies, any birthday wishes, any anniversary wishes and stuff. So give us a shout on our number 067 That was Everlasting Father by Elevation Worship. What a beautiful song. And without much ado, I would like to introduce the guest of the moment. If you're new to this session, this is the art of building a healthy marriage session with Pastor Khaya Sodladla. And if it's your first time to tune in, I want to just give you a brief bio about the pastor and about what we've covered so far, so that you can just be up to speed. So Pastor Khaya Sodladla is married to Zimkita Sodladla, and together they are blessed with 3 children: Gift, Lidwala and Ntando. He is an ordained pastor, a marriage coach, a motivational speaker, and an author of 3 books, namely A View from the Father's Shoulders, The Art of Building a Healthy Marriage, and the Marriage Reset Button. He is the founder and president of the Building Healthy Marriages Institute, an institution dedicated into building and enriching married couples to build healthy and happy marriages. Through the Building Healthy Marriages Institute, Khaya and his wife Zimkita conducts marriage seminars and workshops in different places, and get to be invited to speak in churches, weddings, anniversaries, renewal of vows, etc., on the topic of singleness and marriage. He and his family make Port Elizabeth, now called Gqeberha, their home. That is none other than our very own Pastor Khaya Sodladla. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, thank you, sir. And you?
I'm doing great, man.
Thank you.
It's good to have you, sir, this amazing morning. I believe we got a couple of viewers and listeners just excited and eager to know what we're going to be talking about today. Bringing you up to speed again, we've been talking about the emotional DVDs. I think now is the past 4-5 weeks.
I think so.
Something like that. This is an incredible, eye-opening topic and session because so many people struggle with so many things in marriages. For the people who are married, you would know that sometimes it's not all rosy. We get through issues, and if you do not understand what you are dealing with, you might have a difficult time with your partner. So the past few weeks we've been dealing with various personality issues, and the emotional DVD basically, if I just use my own words before Pastor Khaya corrects me, it's when traumatic situations happen in your life, and you do not necessarily deal with it, but you just sweep it under the carpet, and somehow you find a way of coping mechanisms, and later on in your life, especially in your married life or when you're in your relationship, something does happen that actually opens that, in quotes, can of worms, and you have a involuntary sort of reaction, to it without even thinking. So that is what we call the emotional DVDs, and many times the disadvantage of this is because it's a blind spot. It's one of the areas we don't even realize ourselves that this is what is happening. So, Pastor, I believe today we are dealing with a topic. If you can just clarify us again, today we're dealing with
The divergence.
The divergence.
Yes.
Well, that is a big English for many for many of us. We're gonna just break that down and find out what it is. What is it that this personality can bring into the marriage dynamics, and if your partner or yourself are that kind of personality, you're gonna have a great eye-opening session today on how to deal with an emotional DVD issue. Over to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brother John. Firstly, let me take this time and greet the listeners at home. It's a joy and a privilege to be, in your home, in your car, in your workplace, and wherever you are listening from. Brother John, it's always a privilege and an honor and a joy to come here and share with the listeners. And I'm very excited and very encouraged to hear the encouraging, remarks of the listeners. Sometimes they would write, message me, some would call and tell how these topics have been helping them in their marriages, which says it's worth coming here. For those maybe who are just maybe starting to listen to us today, let me just take 2 minutes to just quickly, I think Brother John has already done a great job. No, I don't need to correct you. You're a good student.
That's all right.
Whoever is going to get married to is going to be blessed, I'm telling you.
Thank you. I hope so.
Yes. Now, basically, what happens is, let me just quickly today, I'm going to approach it from 2 angles. What we call the cognitive distortions and the mind filters. The cognitive distortions together with the mind filters define our responses to things, and therefore these 2 elements of our minds, they are very crucial for us to understand, so that we don't end up being victims of them. Cognitive distortions is more like these are filing systems that our mind uses. If you go through something, your mind tries to make sense of it, and then making sense of it, and then put it in a file, so that if you go through the same experience in future, it will know how to process the situation. Based on the information it has, based on the background it has, it uses it as a reference, and therefore can sort of expect or, sort of make up a response to whatever you're going through. So if you went through some traumatic situations in your life, cognitive distortions can be formed. These are an unhealthy way of understanding, things, or maybe responding to things based on your experience. Now, we've got lots of these. Our minds, in a way, they want to protect us. They don't want us to get hurt again. If you were hurt before, your mind has got to formulate, how do I protect myself? How do I define myself from the same attack again? How do I protect myself from being hurt the way I was before? And therefore, we formulate, patterns in our minds based on the distortions we have. Filters is how we see the world, is how we see things. I normally like to use this example in my mind of this cow. My grandfather used to preach about this cow. I think the listeners, Brother John is smiling. He remembers the cow. For me, this picture, by the way, gets to be very funny because in my mind, I get to picture this cow wearing goggles. My grandfather tells us that there was this dairy cow that this man bought from this dairy farm, and he thought, instead of keep on buying milk, let me just buy the dairy cow so that I can have milk in my home. I can milk the cow whenever I want to. So he bought the cow. He already had other cows already anyway. So he brought it, included in his head. But to his surprise, this now cow, the new cow here, was not eating the grass. It was getting hungry, and it was almost dying. So he decided to go and get a vet. The vet came in, checked the cow, just did some few tests, and then he said to this guy, listen, go to this place and buy these green goggles and put them on the cow. So the farmer this guy was very confused, went anyway, bought the goggles, put them on the cow, and that's why it gets funny in my mind. Because I picture this cow wearing the goggles. So the cow goes back to the grass, and then the cow eats. And the man calls the vet confused, say, what did you do? What's with these goggles? Because my cow is eating and is getting back to health.
Oh, wow.
He said, the problem with your cow is where it's coming from. The fields are watered. The grass is always green. When it sees the grass that is not green, that is dry, it does not recognize it as grass.
Okay.
So he had to use a filter that will help it to see the grass as green, even if it's not green. Sometimes in marriage, these DVDs can put filters in our minds that sees things the way that we have been filed in our minds, even if they are not. And they can affect the way we respond, the way we treat our spouses, and the way we do things in marriage, because the filters define. It's what we see. It's what is real to us. And that's what we need to reconfigure, make you understand the way you do things is hurting you, is hurting your marriage, and is hurting even the one that you love. So that's the thing we deal with. We dealt with the apprehensives, those who are afraid of betrayal. We dealt with the loners, those who are too independent and self-sufficient and feel they don't need anyone because to them that is the pillar of their survival. We dealt with the eccentrics. The eccentrics are those who who keep on putting different masks to protect themselves from the pain, so they avoid reality. And last week, I think we dealt with the impervious.
Yes.
The impervious are those whose hearts, they close their heart because they don't want to be hurt again. So they don't have any empathy. Sure. They're not sensitive to each other's feelings because to them life is a jungle. It's a survival of the fittest. So they don't care whether they hurt or not, as long as they get what they get. And now today we want to deal with the divergence. The divergent is very interesting character because it sort of picked from all these characters.
Okay.
It took time for me to be able to separate them because they can be very complex, because one time you see the apprehensives, one time you see the loner, they can be this cocoon of these groups, but it's still a separate group. Okay. The divergents generally are afraid of abandonment. That's what defines them. They fear abandonment because their filing system was created out of abandonment. Let's talk about Sindiswa.
Okay.
Sindiswa is a beautiful young woman, just got married to his husband, and now they are having serious problems. Because the problem with Sindiswa is, whenever she never unpacked her bags. She's always next to the door, ready to jump out. But now the issue with her is she is standing there so that if she feels that this one is about to jump up, she must be the first. Okay. She's competing for being the first to jump out because she doesn't want the husband to jump out and leave her here. Because to her, that is abandonment. She's so afraid of being abandoned that she would rather initiate abandonment, even like the very small hint of being abandoned. So she seems as if she's not committed to this marriage, and she always accuses her husband for things he did not do. She is very insecure in this marriage, and she can be very needy and very clingy, and it's frustrating the husband because she is this person that when she loves somebody, she clings because she does not want, she fears abandonment. And she feels as if you're not giving her the attention that she wants, she reacts negatively. Okay. And it's eating up their marriage. But let's go back. What is the entrance? What is the filing? What causes her to respond the way that she does? When she was a young girl, the mother was too young when she got her, and therefore could not take care of her. and the grandmother had to take care of her. But the grandmother was also an alcoholic. And the grandmother used to tell her when she was drunk how the mother doesn't like her, how the mother wanted to abort her when she was in her womb. And she gave it, and the mother really, that's how she saw the way the mother treated her, because the mother could not really properly file her in her mind, because she was this child that was a pain. She was this child that took away her innocence, and we don't know the story with the father. So the mother was never there for her. The mother never cared for her. It was only the grandmother who cared for her. The last time she saw her mother, she can't even remember. When she finally comes back, she is not having anything for her. All she does is to get drunk and get wasted in front of her and curse at her. So to her, she does not. The mother doesn't love her. But at least the grandmother, as much as when she's drunk, she would be on her case. She would shout at her, she would curse at her, and remind her how she is a nobody, and even the mother doesn't like her. So the life was terrible. But at least she had somebody that she could say, this is my grandmother. She had somebody that she could say, I've got a roof over my head. At least even if she understands by now that the grandmother loves her, it's only when she's drunk that she acts the way that she does. And then when she was round about 13 years, the grandmother passes away. And now here she is left alone in this world. There's nobody that she can call. The mother doesn't like her. The grandmother is no longer there. She has to grow, and it was a very painful life that she had. But praise the Lord, by the grace of God, she grew up, managed to finish school, and managed to start working and do something there and there. And she had sometimes had to sell things and struggled. And when she finally grew up, she was at least managing to get there, and then this man found her and asked for marriage. Praise the Lord, at last somebody was going to love her. Praise the Lord, at least for a change, she's not alone. But when she is here, those thoughts and those fears of being abandoned are still haunting her. Something says, what if this man abandons you? So the first thing that she did when they got me was to overcompensate for his love. She went overboard to try and please him, because in her mind she did not want to lose him. And she also idolized him. Everything was about this husband, which is not bad to a certain level. And then and after some time she realized, you know what, no matter what I try to do, this man can leave. If she finds any hints that might to her, so she is over jealous. A simple hint that she knows, she can see things that are not there, because fear keeps on planting pictures and videos in her mind. And the way that she responds, because they project their fear to other people's actions. They project what they imagine, they project what they think, and they project it to the person that is not necessarily doing those things. It is fear driving them, because in them it's a fight that says, I am so afraid of being abandoned. Rather than being abandoned, it would be bearable if I abandon the person rather. If this man leaves me here in this marriage, I would not survive, because I don't know how I survived my mother's abandonment. I don't know how I survived my grandmother's abandonment. Now, if this man abandons me, and I don't know what I will do, because the pain will be too much. The children are here as well. I don't know. Now, what they normally do, therefore, these people can have, these very deep lows and very high lows emotionally. One moment they are very low and depressed, and then the next month they are up there. So there are these lows and highs emotionally. Number two thing, because these people are fighting with demons that they never dealt with. Sometimes they cannot stay with themselves. It's easy for them to be on drugs because they are trying to escape as well physical, reality. It's easy for them to be reckless in life. These people can be, they can be, binge eaters. These people, they've got a tendency that at some point they can be reckless with their lives and not take responsibility of how they eat. Sometimes if they are depressed with that thing, they can be binge eaters. They can drive very fast. They can be very fast drivers because in them there's an element of recklessness that must have been, that goes with these files. No, it's not all of them, but those are some of the things that you pick up. The other thing that you find with them is they are very quick to threaten with suicide. When they want attention, when they want to hold you for you not to go, they will use even the threat of suicide and say, I'm gonna kill myself, or maybe send a letter just for you just for the person to feel guilty of leaving them. At least if they've got that guilt feeling that says, if I leave this person, they might kill, and I will not be able to forgive myself. So they are trying to bring attention that says, don't leave me. If you leave me, I'll kill myself. And they will, they use those kinds of things. Most of the time, it's not because they want to kill themselves. If they do, most of the time, it happened by accident. They did not mean to kill themselves, but they just wanted to make you afraid. So that's how they are. They sometimes will even use children
as a collateral,
as a collateral, so that you will not live because of the children.
Exactly.
These are the people that sometimes will even go to lengths of getting pregnant or of impregnating somebody just to keep this person from abandoning them. So basically, this is a very complex and a very challenging character that we deal with. But if you can understand that the roots of this thing, the distortion and the filters are coming from the fact that you fear abandonment. And you have got to go back to the roots. You have got to deal with that fear. You have got to face that fear. One of the things that is important, I always say that the past is not always equal to the future. The fact that you were abandoned in the past doesn't mean you will be abandoned again in the future.
It's true.
That you have got to keep on repeating it and keep on repeating it, because if you don't do that, your mind will always associate things and come back with the same answer: abandonment. I don't care what numbers you put in, what figures you put in, and what formulas you use. You will put all those and calculate, and your mind will calculate, but the final answer I can tell you, abandonment. You need to deal with that you allow. Sometimes you've got to stand in front of the mirror and convince yourself and say this time and again that I am a lovable person. I am, I am not worthy to be abandoned. I am not going to be abandoned anymore. I am loved. I am a good person. You say that until you understand it. The fact that I was abandoned by somebody doesn't mean that I'll be abandoned again. Some of these people might not be the parents. It could have been your spouse. People that went through divorce, they suffer from this a lot. If they never really if they never file the divorce properly in their minds, it's easy for them to suffer because that was abandonment.
It's true.
And you've got therefore to go back to that time and deal with that time. Go back to that season that you were abandoned and properly deal with that. If you need to, see a therapist so that they can help you go over that season of your life. Otherwise, if you don't, it will deal with your marriage negatively.
My goodness.
So that's the crunch of it.
My goodness. Wow. As you said, this one is particularly challenging.
Yes, it is.
Because it's almost like a shapeshifter. One moment, they would look as though they're eccentric.
Yes.
Another moment they'll look like they're impervious. Because yeah, as you
They
said,
deal with a lot of emotions all at once in this,
Yes. So my thing is this, and I think it's a question that can apply to all these personality disorders. Or how do you get to? Because usually there is, I feel probably, from an instance, as you said, the abandonment is what caused the whole of this self-talk, negative self-talk. How do you go to the core of this person, as you said, and get that negative self-talk, that self-defeating beliefs? Because, because as you said one thing, that this person, one of the things they can do is look squarely in the mirror and speak to themselves. But honestly, if we really are honest, sometimes it's really difficult to convince yourself. Yes, you speak, but you're like, hey, I don't know if I'm believing what I'm saying. It's true. I might be saying that, but others, are saying, something else about me, So how do we deal with this person in terms of, healing that, opening that situation and really facing the fear? As you said, they project that fear, is usually, and fear is like an acronym, false evidence appearing real.
Exactly.
Because in their mind, they've already, when they see, hints that reminds them of the past abandonment, they quickly, go into that mode of already exiting. And project the fear on you. How do you withdraw these, I can say, thought processes?
But Johnny, you've got to understand that as human beings, we've got layers of consciousness. There is the outer consciousness and the inner one. The outer one, it's easy to deal with. The outer one deals with logic. The inner one is what matters the most.
Sure.
Because the inner one is the driver of who you are. The outer one can, is influenced easily. The outer one deals with facts. It deals with logic. But have you ever been to a situation where you know that this thing is supposed to go like this?
Yes.
But deep down, you keep on going the other direction.
Yes.
We call this the mind. The simpler way of putting it, we call it the mind and the heart. But these are two consciousnesses. Your inner conscious is dealing with the filing systems, what you have filed there, what it has come to drive it throughout the years. It's what matters the most. You can hear something, understand something, be excited about something, but if it does not get transferred, there's a process of getting transferred. We call that process is like layering, layering conditioning. It's like the layers of an onion. If you keep on layering and layering, you find that if you deal with the first layer, but there's still many other layers underneath. So you've got to work very hard to deal with all those layers. To deal with one layer, they say your mind, if you repeat something 7 times, your mind will start understanding that thing. So it takes a lot of layers to remove. If you have gone through this for the rest of your life, it takes a lot of layers of those onions to remove in your mind. So the most important thing is, the other thing that is important, you find that if you try to confront those layers, there will be a resistance. Because your mind is protective of those layers. Because for your mind, that's what is setting up the structure of the mind. So if you try to attack those layers, your mind feels, vulnerable.
Yes.
Because so it will protect them. It will be resisting. You will struggle to deal with, but you have got to be consistent and intentional. So what you need to do, you need to keep on taking this thing and repeat it with even with all the other DVDs.
Yes,
with this one, you've got to keep on saying, you know what? No one will abandon me. I am lovable. I am lovable person. I will not be abandoned. You say it even if you don't believe it. Because it's not necessarily what you believe, it's what you say. Your mind can your mind can overtake or supersede what you believe. It can also supersede what you think. If your mind can connect, your inner conscious can connect directly with what you are saying. If you say it long enough and repeat it long enough, you will within no time, it will remove all the layers to a point that your outer conscious and your inner conscious, they agree together. And you no longer feel the fear of being abandoned anymore. So you have got to repeat it and say it. You don't have to say it to anybody else. You are the one who needs to hear it.
Hey. Guys, what we are receiving now is really, really, really eye-opening. You said there is, I believe to a certain extent, is really true. Everyone has a controversy, if I put it that way. Honestly speaking, everyone to a certain extent, there is a dialogue, within, usually self-esteem, self-worth, and, kind of conversations that you're like, okay, no, these guys are not accepting me because of A, B, C, and D. Now we bring this situation, now we, okay, this person suffered A, B, C, D when they were young, when they were growing up, and it was imprinted. Especially when they're young, their mind is very receptive. That's what they are framing their universe, their world view at that time, and things to do with the identity about themselves. So that situation, the case of abandonment, when they were young, informs them they are not valuable. They're not worth it. And when it comes to a marriage situation now, as you said, Pastor, that it looks like somebody did not unpack, didn't even unpack, was at the door, entered in and just remained at the door, so that they can so there is no commitment issues, there's no commitment. And in a marriage situation, most that commitment is paramount. Is the we say that to death, till death do it part. In sickness or in health. So I just want to create this situation to help our dear listeners and viewers. If somebody is going through a situation where they can see these symptoms within themselves, how to deal with it. How do we take the first? What is the first step? If I feel like, okay, I think it's me now. It's me. I've got this issue. I have this thing. I've not seen it until today. I'm realizing that this is real to me. How do I begin to take the first step? What is the first step? Because I said peeling the layers, and dealing with these issues to the core. But what is the first step? What would you recommend as a first step to initiate the whole process?
But John, the first step is to be honest with yourself. Because one of the challenges with dealing with this topic, it is an issue of somebody trying to be defensive and not being honest. Make an honest introspection. And because if you don't identify the problem, you can never deal with the problem. So that's the first one. The second one that is important is to keep on reminding yourself the past is not always equal to the future. In other words, the fact that you were abandoned in the past, there are many other people out there who are not abandoned. It so happened to you that you were abandoned wherever. It might have been in marriage, it might have been in the past relationships, it might have been anywhere else. You see, this is how the layering happens, which is very crucial for you to understand. When something happens for the first time, you get hurt, you get the pain, but it says, well, it's one of the things that happens. It could happen to anybody. If it happens the second time, depending on the depth of the abandonment, and also depending on the relationship you have, if it happens the second time, you start getting worried. Why is this happening to me the second time? Is there anything wrong with me? Are you still not sure? But if it happens the third time, then you get to form now a foundation that says, well, it's me. Well, I'm not available. I'm not valuable. And then you're no longer questioning yourself. You're formulated, and that's how layering happens. Now, let me give you a more bigger picture. Let me give you some other characteristics that you may maybe look out for. The other thing that normally they struggle with it is they don't like to throw themselves out there. They are always very reserved because they are afraid if they throw themselves out there and they get abandoned or rejected, or the second thing they fear the most is rejection. So most of the things that are in this divergence are also from the group of rejection. If they were rejected anyway, as you say it correctly, say it so, and then they question their value. So they fear rejection and abandon so much that they are so scared of going into new relationships or forming new relationships. So you find that they seldom, they don't want to go to, they don't feel comfortable going to gatherings to where there'll be more people, whether it be family gatherings, whether it be gatherings at work or a social gathering, because the biggest fear for them is if they get there and they don't get rejected. The other thing is what we call echoing. Echoing is like if you're in a cave and you shout, the voice will come out of you and come back to you. What we throw out is what will come back to us. If you expect yourself to be abandoned, that's what you will throw out, and people will stay away from you, not because you don't have value, but because it's the vibe you throw out, it's the expectation, the expectation you have, you will get back. It's very real when it comes to this matter. So they've experiences that will go to this place, and then others will be associating and loving and do this, but you'll be sitting in a corner. And the way that will be sitting, because you are expecting nobody will come to you. So people will just look at your corner and say, yeah, no, they are not very welcome. So they stay away from you, obviously. Because you believe that. And therefore they don't like and also they are very uncomfortable. They will always, if you're married to this person, you'll be frustrated because they are almost antisocial. And they expect you, and now you go to this place, but they don't want to go. You want to go to this place, but they're always holding back, always, because the most thing they're afraid of going there, of making themselves vulnerable and get rejected. The second thing that in around the things is these people can, not all the time, but they can be, cheaters. Because for them, they are always looking for them to feel wanted. It becomes more like a drug. If they can convince this person and they get to feel that this person loves and values them and wants them, to them it's a high for them. So they end up, if they're not careful, being cheaters. Sure. And the problem there with this is they are cheating and they know what it means. They feel I've abandoned this person. The very thing that they are fearing. And what then they will do, they will project what they are doing to somebody else. They will think that because this one is doing it, that because I'm doing it, that means so they project what they are doing to their spouses. Let me tell you a funny story. I think this guy was a divergent. He is living in New Brighton, Elalini, and here in New Brighton, and every morning he would come back in the morning, and so he would come back around about 5, 6 in the morning. And when the wife asked the husband, "Where have you been the whole night?" Says, "You, my wife, you don't know what happened. And I was coming back home last night. I was just at the corner of the street. Just when I was entering the corner, a ghost came in and it took me to I don't know where. I got lost. I've been walking the whole night. When I woke up in the morning, I thought I was riding a train, but I was on a gate of so-and-so." So the wife started to feel, pity for him. After some time, they went, "No, man, why is this ghost targeting this man every day?" So one day the man was gone, getting lost with the ghost as usual. So the wife decided she's going to go her way as well. So she went to her sister's home. She was not living very far, slept there. When the husband came at 6 from being, having these wanderings with a ghost, the wife was not there. Was the man angry?
Sure.
And then the wife comes in like 7 in the morning. The wife has been, the man now is carrying his nobkiri, saying, I'm going to, and then the husband says, where do you come from? And she says, you, my husband, I want to apologize. I did not believe you. I thought you were lying when you spoke about the ghost until, I was coming back from my sister's place. At least with you, for me, I was at the gate. When I was holding the gate and about to enter, your ghost appeared. And I been lost. The man was fuming, wanted to beat him. And then the sister was following her. And when he was about to beat her, they said, no, stop. She was in my place. And they explained to him what, and he felt, no, you got me.
Yes.
So this man was a cheater. But this man was so afraid of being cheated on. So they would rather project what they are doing. They would rather punish somebody else for what they are doing.
My goodness. Wow.
So these are some of the other thing that they do. If they want to feel you, they want to make you jealous. There's another tool that they use to keep you from abandoning them, which is always the worst mistake. They think that if they make you think there's somebody interested in them and you might lose them to this person, they think that if they raise that element of jealousy, it will keep you therefore attached to them. You will see the value and therefore don't want to lose them, which always causes a whole lot of other problems.
Hectic. And you said, Pastor, there was another thing which sometimes I can see is almost like a conflict with what I said they can be cheaters, but at the same time they are clingy. As you said, they can use children as collateral. Either to when they get pregnant, or they feel like, okay, now I'm gonna keep him. So let's talk about that element of, because there is to a certain extent some sort of manipulation there to keep you, for you to esteem them. And as you said right now about the jealousy issue as well, which would like, okay, cool, well, so and so is also interested in me, just for your information, which sort of I think they are playing on the value, their value, whatever, somebody else values me if you don't. So how can that, jeopardize a relationship or a marriage, with the clingy and the manipulation side of things?
You see, the issue is nobody likes to be manipulated. Especially by somebody, because if somebody you feel that they are playing with your heart, they are playing with your emotions and feelings, that can cause your spouse to be very unhappy with you. And it causes a lot of problems. Because whether you believe it or not, the fact that you bring the issue, for example, of betrayal, it says you don't care about how I feel. You don't care about my emotions, and it has, in a number of times, it has actually destroyed marriages. Because this person, what if this person believes you? And when you try to explain, how do you explain that I was just trying to make you jealous? And sometimes they might not really confront the issue, but it might be in the back of their minds. And therefore, it affects how they respond to you, because they know, well, by the way you cheated, or by the way you thought of cheating, and therefore is eroding the commitment of your spouse to you. You thought that you were actually increasing the value, but you're actually depleting the value. So it has caused a lot of problems because you see the issue with these people is what they forget is that they don't understand the rule. We call it the golden rule in the in the Bible. The golden rule says, "Do unto others as you would love them to do unto you." What gives you the right to treat the people in the way you don't want to be treated? What gives you the right for you to cheat and this person you expect them not to cheat? I normally say to people when they come to me and they are dealing with these issues, one of the things that I do role play, exchange of role playing, but exchange. That I normally say put on the shoes of the other. Okay. So I make them, wear the shoes of the spouse and say, if it was you, and you create what they are doing, and let's change the things as if it's done to them. When they now see, wow, what I'm doing, if it was being done to me, then also they understand how the other spouse feels. They understand how damaging it is to their marriage and to this person. So what they therefore need to do, they need to keep on wearing the shoes of, because they go and cheat, before they go and try to make them jealous and all these other things, it's always very good to put on the shoes of your spouse and say, if it was me, how would it feel? Would I like it for them to do this to me? Because they are human beings. They've got everything you can. If they choose to, they can do exactly what they are doing.
It's true.
Is that they chose not to?
Sure. So, wow, that is like absolutely incredible. I mean, guys, we just want to say thank you for the comments that you've dropped, on the Facebook. Please, you can, if you would like to send messages discreetly to us, we will, any questions are welcome. Our number is 067-9944-546. And we want to put a disclaimer, as we say, the intent of this kind of talks is not so that now you can interrogate your partner and you can investigate your partner in all this. It's all so that you can just be aware, and especially about yourself and about these things that do exist, so that we do not misinterpret things. We can have the right lenses. This is just now paradigm shifts, because even before these talks, I myself was not aware these things are there. So the reason why we have these things is to save marriages, to really save marriages from going downhill, because that's what the enemy is definitely wanting to do. And we believe marriages are godly. Marriages are the future of the nations, its families and children. And marriages is where you get security, you get strength, and so much more. So, Pastor, I'd like to ask this in sort of some conclusive way. Is there hope?
Definitely.
And how can we transform, this person, whose worldview totally from the very word go was just about everything they talk to themselves is just miserable. Because of abandonment issues and rejection. And now they're in a marriage, where they need to open up their bags, when they need to commit, it's really self-defeating, if you look at it. You want to get loved, but you are the one now projecting these things to the other person that pushes them away, So is there hope that actually somebody can be transformed? How can they do that? And if they need to get in touch with you or any other professional?
But John, there's a book that we have put together. It's called The Marriage Reset Button. It's for sale. It's only 50 rands a copy. And then we can courier it to wherever you are at 50 rands extra. This book is marriage to, it's all these issues are there. You also get a test there where you test and check yourself. What are the possible DVD you have, and it's all there. You test yourself. Once you pick it up, and you read that that column, that module on divergence, for example. You understand. You understand what makes you tick. You understand, and then from there, we help you, give you what are the things that you can do to help yourself. There's also a chapter that just deals with mind filters as well as the cognitive distortions and all these things, and how to deal with them, how to deal with, the filing system that we have that is not healthy. So we've got a chapter that just deals with that and help you how because this thing has got to be day to day. You can't do it once and forget it. You've got to sort of make it part of you, and until it comes to a point that everything is cleared up. So that for me is the most important tool. The second one, it is to get therapy sessions where you sit down with somebody and say, you know what, I need help. I think I have a challenge here. I'd rather you deal with those and you are sure that it's cleared up. Because if you don't, these issues are going to be there in your marriage. Have you ever noticed that please understand, I'm not being judgmental or insensitive, but have you ever noticed that people that have divorced before, it seems to be easy to divorce again? It's not because they are bad people. It might be because there's an emotional DVD. These people are very good. The fact that they can get married more than once, it means they are very good people, but it's just that there is this DVD that keeps on working and messes up their marriage. So I'd rather you deal with it, and so that in future you don't have these bumps on your marriage life. So you deal with that. You get for you to communicate with us or to get us. There is a there is a Facebook page, which is the easiest one. In that Facebook page, you can send me an email. There's a button that I can send message or email. You can send us an email or message and tell us who you are and how we can help. If you have any question, you can ask more questions there. So please do go to the Art of Building a Healthy Marriage. That's the Art of Building a Healthy Marriage. You can go to that Facebook page, or you can send me a WhatsApp at 0727198760. During the week, normally, when I'm not in programs like this, I'm in our church office. Is in 622 Cape Road. 622 Cape Road, it is in Handa's Retreat. There's a hotel called Handa's Retreat Hotel, and then there's a big gym behind it. Right in the back there in front of the gym, that's where our church is, His Grace Tabernacle. You can meet me there during the week, or you can make arrangement, you can meet there, have some time to talk, or you can see me there on a Sunday at 10 o'clock and say, Mfundisi, I'm here, would you please talk? I need to talk. We always are open to help. So we can tell you how do we work from there, and we can do some sessions together.
Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, the time is running short, but we acknowledge all your comments. I can see some people as far as Cape Town are listening, and all over the world as well. We are really glad for you to get in touch with us, because one thing we really believe that marriage is beautiful. Marriage is created by God. It's an institution, designed by God, for, not only progeny, but also, to have fulfillment in life. You don't have to endure. It was created to be enjoyable.
Yes.
There's so much more. I'm sure the way things are playing out in the society right now, when we see all these big stars and divorcing left, right, center, and this looks like now it's become a model. This is not God's plan. It was never God's plan from the very beginning for marriages to play out this way. There is so much more in marriage. I don't even understand these things yet, but I believe God has an incredible plan, and the devil is just doing a very good job of messing it up. But please, if you still feel that you want to question some things, you'd like more information, you need some help, and maybe you haven't gotten pastor's details, please drop us a message, inbox us even on Facebook. Our number is 06799444546. Again, 06799444546. Please get in touch with us. We'll refer you to Pastor Khaya, and we will be happy if your marriage can be saved, you don't have to go the whole way, into divorce and battle every day. We've seen these things, and we believe, even as a radio, we believe with Pastor Khaya. We actually have the same vision, for marriage and families. So, Pastor Khaya, if you have any last parting words for our listeners.
Thank you, Brother John. Let me take this time and appreciate and echo your words. Appreciate all those who tuned in. And I've got a number of those who commented, people like Charmaine, Pastor Tsiki from Alwan North, is pastoring in Jamestown. We've got Pastor Samkel Onwazi, all the way from Cape Town. We've got Babu Dumisa Gabela from East London. We've got a number of them that are here. We've got that are watching and listening and responding. Please, I want to challenge the couples out there. Please do share with your friends. Do share in your Facebook. Let's make this wildfire spread. Sure. Imagine how many marriages can be saved by just listening to this program. So doing the bit that we can. Let's keep on pushing. Let's keep on encouraging each other. Let's keep on inviting next week, 10 a.m. in the morning. We are back here, 10 to 11. Let's have an appointment. God bless you. God loves you.
Thank you so much. And with those words, we wish you a very wonderful week. Until next week, same time, tune in to the best radio in town. Right now, we're going to listen to In the River by Jesus Culture. Stay tuned for more right ahead.